mountains, Shenandoah River.
Life is all there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like the breeze. Country roads, take me
But when the fighting is stopped and the fallout is settled, you must rebuild.
I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country roads, take me home, country roads.
In Vault 76, our future begins.
Hi there everybody, my name is Valhalla's Might, and you just saw Bethesda's announcement trailer for Fallout 76. I'm really surprised that that's the kind of trailer that we got for this game. I don't think anyone was really expecting that we were going to get another Fallout game this close to having released Fallout 4. Again, there's not been any sort of Oblivion or Skyrim that's coming out in between the two, and that kind of really breaks the norm for Bethesda. They don't normally do that, so this is kind of cool. Also makes me wonder what kind of game this is going to be, so let's jump into some analysis here. Now, the trailer for the game starts off with the interior of a vault, and it looks to me to be the Overseer's personal room. Why do I think that? Well, the windows look out on the vault atrium on the outside. That's usually something that we would think of an Overseer having. You know, they're there to look over the occupants. This is the common area for the vault. If you're just some normal peon, you'd be down below, starting your 12-hour shift, working on the nuclear reactor, whatever it is that's powering this vault. Something else notable about the room is that everything looks pristine. Everything looks brand new. There's no wear, there's no tear like you would normally see in other vaults in the Fallout series. Specifically, the TV is in color. That's a new thing. Also, taking a look at the computer terminal that's there, the paint is perfect. There's no chipping. There's no dust around the edge of the screen. There's nothing there to indicate that it's been sitting for a long time. So everything looks new, which falls in line with the next piece that we're going to take a look at, which is going to be the timeline. When is this game taking place? Well, to answer that question, we're going to take a look at the Pip-Boy that starts off right at the beginning of that trailer. There's a date on the front, and that date is October 27th of 2102. Why is that significant? Well, 2102 just happens to be 25 years after the bombs were dropped and that vault was originally sealed. We can then assume that this is going to be the time period of the game. Again, why is that significant? Well, most of the Fallout games take place hundreds of years after the bombs fell, not just 25 years after the bombs fell. So this is going to be a prequel. This means that Fallout 76 is taking place at least 59 years before the events of the first Fallout game. What does that mean? Well, it means that we're likely to not see any major settlements out in this wasteland. There's not going to be a Diamond City, there's not going to be a Megaton that you can go to and have safe refuge. Everywhere is going to be the wasteland, and I think due to some of the narration in the trailer where they say, when the fighting is over and the fallout is settled, it is up to you to rebuild. And I think that means that we're going to be leaving the vault, going out and settling this wasteland and establishing the first layer of civilization after the bombs having been dropped. I think it's likely that we're going to see a lot of cannibalism, a lot of people just trying to survive day to day. You're not going to have like a lot of farmers, and it's going to be you establishing those habits. Another thing that's going to be significant is that your character is still going to be a pre-war American. You're not going to be like a third-generation wasteland survivor. You're going to have certain knowledge, you're going to have certain motivations. So I wonder how that's going to play in. And that then leads on to the next logical question is, where is this game going to be set? You know, hey, this is 25 years after the war, but where is this vault located? And thankfully, there are some reference materials located in Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. In Fallout 3, if you travel to the Citadel, which keep in mind was originally the Pentagon, you can find a terminal in the back of the Citadel, that is labeled as the Vault-Tec terminal, and this terminal is going to have information about all the vaults in the Washington, D.C. area. And on those, Vault 76 is going to be one of them. Some of the information on Vault 76 says that there were 500 occupants that were going to be a part of that vault, and most notably that it's a control vault, meaning that Vault-Tec did not put any sort of weird experimental stuff in there. This vault is just meant to be a normal vault and operate as vaults should, or as they were designed to do in the marketing. Now, this is also strange in that the trailer music was Country Roads. So that says to me that it would logically be placed in West Virginia, not Washington, D.C. What's up with that? Well, when you go and take a look at the map, it very well could still be both. West Virginia and Maryland both share a common border, and that border is relatively close to Washington, D.C., which means that, it still could be placed within West Virginia and still be a part of the Capital Wasteland, which is pretty interesting. One of the most interesting parts when you take a look at that common border between West Virginia and Maryland is that one of the main cities that happens to fall right along that border is Antietam. The Battle of Antietam, also known as the Battle of Sharpsburg, was the single bloodiest day in American history. That even includes both the First World War and the Second World War as per single-day casualties of Americans. And that battlefield happens to fall right along that border between West Virginia and Maryland, right along the same area as per Fallout 76 theoretically being placed. That then also lends itself to some interesting thought. Fallout 4 had some parallels with the Revolutionary War. Well, what if Fallout 76 has some parallels with the Civil War? I think that Antietam would lend itself well to being a major landmark for Fallout 74 if indeed it is placed along that border. And that would also fall in line with the next rumor that we're going to point out here, and that is that Fallout 76 is rumored to have at least some part of it be multiplayer. I think that if you did a Civil War parallel, blue versus the gray, or having some sort of schism between vault residents where there's some sort of civil war there, could be very interesting and can lend itself to some very cool Fallout lore, because as we all know, war never changes. Now, as I just stated, Fallout 76 is rumored to have at least some sort of multiplayer component, and why is that? Well, the trailer would normally suggest to me that it's going to be a single-player traditional Fallout game, and that might not be the case. And for evidence, I'm going to introduce to you Jason Schreier. Jason Schreier is an editor with Kotaku. He leaked some information about Fallout 4 back in 2015, and the information that Jason released just happened to be confirmed at Bethesda's E3 conference in 2015, and that says to me that he has some credible sources within Bethesda. Now, he also just released some information today, and I'm going to quote from his article and also his Twitter feed here, and I'm going to link to both of those in the description down below. And I quote here, Fallout 76 is in fact an online survival RPG that is heavily inspired by games like DayZ and Rust, according to 3 people familiar with the project. Also quoting, Fallout 76 is an experimental new entry in the long-running post-apocalyptic series. When Bethesda first teased the game on Tuesday morning, both fans and pundits speculated that it might be a Fallout 3 remaster or a New Vegas-style spin-off in a new location. But as Kotaku reported that afternoon, it is in fact something that is completely new and completely different. End quote. Mr. Schreier also additionally tweeted, anyone that spends the next 2 weeks speculating that Fallout 76 is going to be a traditional single-player RPG will be very disappointed. End quote. And again, I'd like to point out that Jason Schreier, again, is very credible with his sources, and that leads me to believe that this information is likely accurate. And what does that mean for this game? Well, with Bethesda, especially with their recent tweets at EA about single-player games, I really hope that doesn't mean that they're going to go in a directly Rust and DayZ style with Fallout 76. I could see that becoming very frustrating and not being the greatest direction for a new Fallout game, because that's not in keeping with the historical feel of Fallout games, and also Oblivion and Skyrim games as well. I hope that means that maybe there's some limited component where maybe you're fighting against like 1 or 2 other players out in the wasteland where they're going to come and maybe try to raid your settlement if you're on opposite sides of each other. I really hope that doesn't mean that there's going to be direct confrontation between multiple different players out in the wasteland, because that's going to lead to the same problems that you had with Rust and DayZ, where you're going to be walking along, you're going to spend half an hour trying to build up this elaborate area, and then you're just going to get one-shotted by a guy out of nowhere, lose all your stuff, and have to restart all over again. I really don't want to do that. That's not why I play Fallout games. That's not something that's been in the series before, and I think that that would alienate a large part of their player base and take their games in a new direction that I don't think would necessarily be a good departure for this. At the same time, it is Bethesda. They do know what they're doing when it comes to telling good stories, and so hopefully this is something that's going to be a positive benefit. But we do have to wait for their press conference to find out specifics on what that multiplayer component is going to be, if even it is going to be there. It's still a rumor at this point. Just to end here, we're going to go in and we're just going to recap what it is that we know specifically or have been able to conjecture about Fallout 76. It's going to be taking place very shortly after the bombs having dropped, about 25 years after the Great War. It's likely going to take place on the border between West Virginia and Maryland. There's likely going to be a multiplayer component with this game. And I believe it's going to be something where you're going to be sent out into the wasteland to go and reclaim civilization in some sort. I think at the beginning, you're likely going to see much more savagery. You're not going to see a lot of civilized people. And at the end, you're going to have a nice community that's able to come together and pull together when need be. And also, again, just by taking a look at the map, it's possible there might be some sort of Civil War connection. I really hope that's the case. But that's just taking a look at the hypothesized area where the game's going to take place. Well, thanks for watching, folks. I really do hope that you enjoyed the video. For more about Fallout 76 and other Bethesda games, then please subscribe to the channel. That helps us out a great deal, and that'll keep you up to date with any updates on Fallout 76. And if you also like the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. That does help grow the channel and helps me to create better content for you guys in the future. But thank you guys very much, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.